It's great that we have Olha Kryvosheieva today with us. The theme is this time Jura Soyfer in Ukraine, and we will do it like we did it in the case of the translation in Russian. I will speak first about the historical background, and this is different to the translation into Russian because the background is that I had a big research project about the history of Germanistic and the Habsburg monarchy, 1848 to 1918. And this project allowed me to go to archives to 12 countries, and I made acquaintance with a lot of translators, scientists, and so on. And there is also a series of interviews with those people, translations, also of historical works, and so on. Most important for me was this archive studies in Janowitz, in German, Janowitz. It's a multicultural town, and it was very interesting how the languages were established at this university. It was after 1871. This was the time when the Habsburg monarchy lost the war against Prussia, and this meant that they didn't have enough people to suppress the others. So they had to make a compromise. They have to work together with the other nationalities in the Habsburg monarchy. And the main point was that they allowed the different languages as university languages. Until this point, only German and Latin were accepted. And there are a lot of polemics, for example, against the Italian language and so on. So this is one point of the history. And the other was that after this Ausgleich, there was the possibility to establish Ruthenian language at the University of Chernihiv, and Ukrainian language followed up. And I met at this time Peter Rüchler. He is a very good translator, translated a lot of difficult Austrian literature into Ukraine. And we started with a small project. And then in 2012, he made a wonderful book with all the text of Jura Soyfer published in Ukraine. But there were also a lot of other activities in Ukraine for Jura Soyfer. There were an own Jura Soyfer Society, which was associated to the Jura Soyfer Society in Vienna. There were a lot of theater plays in different towns in Ukraine. Also in 2012, an avant-garde theater, which made a very good performance. There were exhibitions, a lot of other activities. And it was great that we got knowledge about this performance Olha Kryvosheieva was involved in. This was also a new approach to Jura Soyfer in Ukraine after a long way, after 1992, to organize a public for Jura Soyfer also in Ukraine. I ask now Ola to talk about your experience with Jura Soyfer in Ukraine.
Thank you, Herbert. What is especially important for me is that the play, and in Kharkiv, I work with students with this play, The End of the World, seems to contain the whole world and allows for many languages because it speaks about a problem on a planetary scale, a problem that concerns every person. That's why, in working with his play, we deliberately used multilingualism. For me, this multilingualism was not only a theatrical device, it was also a way to show the problems Soyfer writes about have no borders. When one and the same thought it's spoken in different languages, it stops being local and becomes part of a shared global experience. When we were working on the play, the primary language was Ukraine. However, even within the Ukrainian translation, for example, in scene 3, the so-called journalist chanson, the translator Petro Rihla kept the names of well-known publications such as Le Temps, The Times, The New York Times, and Decide. Later in scene 10, where Professor Gook makes a sensational discovery and interacts with various officials, the translator leaves even more opportunity to use not only Ukrainian. For example, an English official speaks phrases in English such as we talk in Ukrainian and we mix English sentences, for example, how do you do? And that's all right. And we all understand that people understand what happened. Or this interest phase, this combination French, Ukrainian, English in one sentence. It's very interesting. For example, oh, excuse me, але напередодні вікенді в мене дуже мало часу. It sounds very interesting. If we take the French official, the translator leaves the entire French text. First, the Ukrainian sentence, а як же наш військовий бюджет? And after, ах, ло саль бош, ах, ло большевик, ах, ло наци, ах, ло салопа, футе ло кам. The German official says, what won then Sie hier? It's important to understand that through this device, the mixing of languages, the satirical effect is conveyed. This foreign exclamation sounds comical and expressive, yet at the same time, they touch on serious themes, the end of the world, war, and political bureaucracy. The combination of humor and anxiety, laughter and tension create the unique atmosphere characteristic of Jura Soyfer's play. The translator did not merely convey the meaning, but preserve the possibility of playing with the sounds and rhythm in different languages, Ukrainian, French, English, and German. The audience or reader simultaneously laughs at the funny mixture of languages and feels the tension inherent in the situation itself. Moreover, having multiple translation is not only important for allowing a large audience to access Soyfer's work, but it also gives the theater the means to employ this translation to convey meaning on the stage. And I feel that translation of Jura Soyfer's works create bridge between cultures. They allow people from different linguistic and cultural backgrounds to talk talk about shared fears, hope, and responsibilities. In today's world, where many people live between languages and between countries, this has a special value. And when I think about the Ukrainian translation of Soyfer, I see them as part of a large multilingual space. His work already sounds in many languages, especially the end of the world. Today is very relevant topic, and each adds its own accent, its own historical experience, and its own tone of resistance. The Ukrainian translation inscribed our experience of war and of rethinking language into this global chorus. We do not only read Soyfer, we also answer him with our own voice. And through translation, his text today can be heard by people in many different countries who speak many different languages, but face very similar threats on unfreedom and violence. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for your contribution. I think you talked about one main field Jura Soyfer Society is acting worldwide, and it's great what you did. Thank you very much.
Thank you.